The Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs get ready to face off and after a rematch of last year's playoff matchup. The Eagles and the Cowboys have a very important battle with first place in the NFC East up for grabs. The Major League Baseball playoff war is going to be going on today. We have 3 games instead of the usual 2. I'll explain why. And we've got 4 big matchups in college football that will have everybody talking. And the NASCAR Cup Series goes to Las Vegas as we start the round of 8. I will have all of that today, and I will have my closing thoughts as usual, and we will start the show right after this.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat. The human drama of athletic competition. This is ABC's Wide World of Sport.
Let's get this show on the road, everybody. The Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs will have a face-off we'll have their face-off this weekend. This is the rematch of last year's dramatic divisional round game, which Kansas City ultimately took in the end 42-36 in overtime. Everybody's been talking about this matchup all week. Stephon Diggs, Travis Kelce, they've been talking about this one all week. And everybody, including myself, is looking forward to this game on Sunday afternoon. This is a 4:25 kickoff. For the Buffalo Bills, the players to watch. The player to watch is Stephon Diggs. He's third in receptions. He's got 39 receptions, 508 yards, 5 touchdowns. He could be the guy that could decide the game for the Bills. But on the other hand, for the Kansas City Chiefs, you have Travis Kelce. 33 catches, 347 yards, and 7 touchdowns. There's your tail of the tape right there. But the key matchups for this game is Bills wide receiver Gabe Davis versus the Kansas City pass defense. Keep in mind, Gabe Davis has 11 catches, 309 yards, and 3 touchdowns. But the Kansas City pass defense has allowed last Monday night against the Raiders, the Chiefs allowed Devontae Adams to hauling catches of 48 and 58 yards respectively. And the pass defense in the divisional round last year in the playoffs gave up almost 300 yards. So that's something to think about. But this is a big game at Arrowhead. Some people have already said this is the game of the year right here. We'll have to wait and see on that. But the truth of the matter is, we got a big game Sunday at 4:25. Just about everybody all over the country is going to be tuning in. And that's all I can say. Could these two teams meet in the playoffs again? Some people are hoping for that. Personally, myself, I am too. We'll see what happens this Sunday afternoon. But this is a big game for both Buffalo and Kansas City. And that's all I can say at this moment. Now, that's the Sunday afternoon. This is the Sunday afternoon main event. But what about the Sunday night main event? We actually have a double main event in the NFL this Sunday coming. The Dallas Cowboys face the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a first-place showdown in the NFC East. There's a lot at stake in this matchup in Philadelphia. And I'm looking forward to this, and I'm telling you now, this is going to be fun to watch. The Eagles player to watch is quarterback Jalen Hurts. He has won 8. He's won 8 consecutive games in all his starts, and he's had a great run with the Eagles so far. 1,359 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and he's got a QBR rating of 97.4. And he's also ran for 266 yards and 6 touchdowns. This guy is good. The Cowboys player to watch, Cooper Rush. Dak Prescott is still injured, so Cooper Rush is going to get the start on Sunday night. He has 839 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, and a QBR of 66.9. But here's the problem. He's only ran for 102 yards so far this season. What I'd like to see from Cooper Rush is I want to see how he does in a big game situation, because this is a big one. Everybody knows what's at stake. First place in the NFC East. So who can win? Whoever comes out on top is going to be the top dog. But I want to see how Cooper Rush does against a team like the Eagles. Last Sunday against the Rams, the Cowboys played fantastic. Actually, the Cowboys defense answered the bell. And they're going to have to answer the bell tonight. Answer the bell on Sunday night. And I'll get to that in a minute. But the key matchup for this game between the Eagles and the Cowboys is the Eagles' defensive front versus the Cowboys' rush. Actually, the Cowboys' rush attack. Last Sunday, Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard combined for 164 yards on 30 rush attempts against the LA Rams. But the Eagles' defensive front has allowed an average of only 105 yards per game on the ground, and that ranks 10th in the NFL right now. But there are some key injuries for the Eagles along that front. Left tackle Jordan Mailata. If I mispronounce your name, I apologize. But Jordan Mailata, suffered a shoulder injury. And left guard Landon Johnson suffered an ankle injury against the Cardinals last week. So there's some key injuries for the Eagles going into this Sunday night battle. But what about the Dallas Cowboys? The Cowboys' defense has been super. The Cowboys ranked second in sacks with 20. And think about this. Last year's Defensive Rookie of the Year, Micah Parsons from Penn State. And I'll be talking about the Nittany Lions here in a few minutes. He's tied. He has 6 sacks, and he's tied in the league with the most sacks this season with 6. This guy is good. When he was at Penn State, he knew what to do. He knew how to get the job done. Penn State head coach James Franklin praised him on the job he did when he was there. This is your Sunday night main event. This is the big one. A lot at stake. First place in the NFC East, and millions of things just going on around the world. And I'll tell you what. May the best team win on a Sunday night in Philly. If the Cowboys can come out of this with a win, that would be wonderful. Dallas has proven they're back. They've proven they can win without Dak Prescott. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But here's the truth of the matter. This is going to be a great game on Sunday night, no matter what happens. And that's the bottom line. All right, let's move on. We have Major League playoff baseball today. We have playoff baseball here this afternoon and tonight. Last night, the Yankees and the Guardians got washed out. Literally. It rained in New York City almost all day, so there was no baseball in New York. But the Houston Astros now have a 2-0 lead over the Seattle Mariners after the Astros took a 4-2 victory yesterday over the Mariners. Yordan Alvarez, his go-ahead home run in the bottom of the 6th really ended the game. He was 1 for 3 with a run, a home run, 2 RBIs, and a walk. Kyle Tucker added another home run in the ball game. He was 1 for 4 with that run, a home run, RBI, but he did strike out twice, unfortunately. Game 3 between these two teams will be tomorrow, and the series moves back to Seattle. Now, last night the Yankees and the Guardians were washed out because of all the rain in New York City. So they will play a day game today at 1 o'clock on TBS. Very funny. I decided to do that. But anyway. Today, the Yankees will be sending Nestor Cortes to the mound. During the regular season, he had a 12-4 record with a 2.44 ERA. And the Guardians will be sending Shane Bieber to the mound. During the regular season, he had a 13-8 record with a 2.88 ERA. And we're going to be in for, he had a great season this year. The Yankees have a 1-0 lead in the series. The Guardians have got to get this one to claw themselves back into this. If they go down 2-0 going home, it's going to be a long road back. However, stranger things have happened. And that's all I can say. Yankees Guardians today at 1 o'clock on TBS. We're gonna have a fun ball game. Now, the Phillies and the Braves. They play this afternoon at 4:30 on Fox. The Atlanta Braves, they're keeping their starter a mystery. But I can tell you for sure, the Philadelphia Phillies will be sending Aaron Nola to the mound. He did have an 11-13 record, but he did have a 3.25 ERA. And the series has moved to Philly. So the game will be in the city of brotherly love. How much brotherly love will the Phillies give the Braves? Probably not much. The series is tied at a game apiece. And I'll tell you right now, may the best team win. And that's all I can say. The Los Angeles Dodgers face the San Diego Padres tonight in the late night nightcap game tonight. But here's the deal. I got the pitching matchup has already been set in stone. For the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Dodgers will be sending Tony Gonsolin to the mound. During the regular season, he had a 16-1 record with a 2.14 ERA. And the San Diego Padres will be sending Blake Snell to the mound. He had an 8-10 record with a 3.38 ERA during the regular season. Whoever wins this game tonight could be in the driver's seat. The Padres won Game 2 on Wednesday night at Dodger Stadium. A lot of it was because of Jake Cronenworth and of course Manny Machado. We'll see what happens tonight. And that's all I can say. Okay, enough of the NFL and enough of Major League Baseball. It's time to go to my personal favorite bread and butter, college football. We have 4 huge ranked we have 6 ranked matchups, but I'm going to go with 4. I want to talk about 4 of them because these are the 4 most important ranked matchups of the weekend. And how are we going to start it out? How about number 10 Penn State, number 5 Michigan? What is at stake, you may ask? Well, the winner of this game could be in the driver's seat to control their own destiny. Both teams are undefeated going into this contest, and the game is in Ann Arbor, so keep that in mind. And there's going to be a lot of Ohio State fans are going to be watching this game with special interest. Now the Buckeyes have a bye week; they do not play this weekend, so a lot of Buckeye Nation is going to be concentrating on Penn State, Michigan, because there's a lot at stake. The winner could control their own destiny. And keep in mind, Ohio State's got Penn State in 2 weeks in Happy Valley. And when that game's in Happy Valley, it's usually a night game, and the whiteout could be a factor for Ohio State. But I'll address that another time. The key matchup for this game, and this is where everybody needs to pay attention, Michigan running back Blake Crum versus Penn State's run defense. Blake Crum this season for Michigan. He has 118 rushes for 735 yards and 11 touchdowns. But Penn State's run defense this season, and they have done a super job with this, they've only given up 79.6 yards rushing per game, which ranks 8th in the country. You're going to see if James Franklin can stop, if Penn State's rush defense can stop Blake Crum, that would be huge. Everybody knows it. And Penn State head coach James Franklin has already said, I'm going to instruct my guys to go after Blake Crum and go after J.J. McCarthy very, very hard. He's instructed his starters to go at them hard. And that's all there is to it. Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh has already said, play Crum. I'm going to tell them to try to stuff it down their throats and do the best we can. And he's already told J.J. McCarthy, air it out as much as you can. But the players to watch in this game, and this is huge, Penn State cornerback Joey Porter Jr. That name sound familiar? Joey Porter Sr. played for the Pittsburgh Steelers in his career. He was named the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year at midseason by the Associated Press. And for the season, he's got 13 total tackles, 13 solo, 4 assisted, and he's also got a fumble recovery to his credit. They may need him right out of the gate because Penn State's defense is going to have to go hard from start to finish. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts. Because you got Michigan quarterback J.J. McCarthy, 1,152 yards passing, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a QBR rating of 82. This is going to be a battle all the way to the end. Both Penn State and Michigan know what's at stake. They can control their own destiny in the Big Ten. But remember, we got Ohio State Ohio State's going to be in this mix too. So there's a lot at stake this weekend. Believe me. This game is going to be fun to watch all the way to the end. But even if you think this game is big, I got another big one for you. Number 3 Alabama versus number 6 Tennessee. What's at stake in this game? Tennessee is trying to be the top dog in the SEC. Tennessee has really, really surprised me. This is going to be a fun game. And that's just all there is to it. And the truth of the matter is, this is going to be, now despite the fact that Tennessee and Alabama are in different divisions, this can mean a lot going into the SEC title. I think we could be talking about an SEC championship game berth this weekend. The key matchup for this game is Tennessee defensive end Byron Young versus the Alabama quarterback, whoever it is. Because keep in mind, Bryce Young is injured. He may be a no-go. So, because Alabama last weekend, keep in mind, they barely escaped Texas A&M. And that's pretty bad. But for Byron Young, give him some love. He had 2.5 sacks against LSU. He's got 21 total tackles, 16 assisted, 6 solo, 15 assisted, and a half a sack to his credit. But he had 2.5 sacks against LSU last week. So Tennessee's defense is going to have to step up and answer the bell. But the players to watch in this game between Tennessee and Alabama is Alabama running back Jameer Gills. He has 64 rushes for 532 yards and 2 touchdowns. He has come through with Bryce Young injured. Give him credit. He's trying his heart out. But for Tennessee, I got another defensive player for you. Christian Charles. He will need to step up to keep the Volunteers' depth issues in the defense from hurting them. But what has he done this season? 20 total tackles, 13 solo, 7 assisted. He could be the team leader, on Saturday. Because you got Christian Charles, and then you got Byron Young. 2 guys who can lead the defense. And that's what Tennessee is priding themselves on right now. That's why they're the number 6 team in the country. And that's why this game in Knoxville is going to be so important. Because remember, Tennessee is trying to upset Alabama. And then Tennessee's got to face Georgia later this season. They're trying to be the new top dog in the SEC. Could that happen? Absolutely. Don't sleep on the Tennessee Volunteers. Some teams have already had to learn that the hard way. Could Alabama upset Tennessee? But I'll tell you this. If Alabama plays like they did against Texas A&M, Bama's going to go down. And Tennessee could pull off the upset of the year. Well, I just have to wait and see what happens. Now, that's one 3:30 game. I've got another 3:30 game on ESPN. on ESPN or ABC. This one's coming to us out of the Big 12. Number 8 Oklahoma State versus number 13 TCU. What is at stake? How about the top spot in the Big 12? The Big 12 championship is going to have to go through Stillwater, Oklahoma, or Fort Worth, Texas. I can't believe I'm saying this. We're usually talking about Texas, Oklahoma, or Baylor battling for the Big 12 championship, but all three teams have been nothing but a lackluster. But Oklahoma State and TCU have really shown me a lot this past few months. Now, who are the players to watch on offense for this game? I got 2 of them for each team. For Oklahoma State, Spencer Sanders, 1,394 yards passing this season, 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's got a QBR rating of 78.6. That could be huge. And who's his favorite running back buddy? Dominic Richardson, 86 carries, 355 yards, 4 touchdowns. He knows how to lead the team in rushing at the right time. For TCU, it is quarterback Max Duggan, 1,305 yards, 14 touchdowns, and only 1 interception on the young season. And, of course, the running back battle is going to be in full force. Kendre Miller, 69 carries, 474 yards, 6 touchdowns on the season. That's your offensive tail of the tape right there. This is a big game in Fort Worth. So you better watch out, because the Horned Frogs could be coming through. But the players to watch on defense for this game, and I got some big names. For Oklahoma State, Mason Cobb. For Oklahoma State, 38 total tackles, 22 solos, 16 assisted. He's got 2 sacks to his credit already this season. Who's the other one on the watch list that I've got? Brock Martin. 18 total tackles, 12 solo, 6 assisted, 4 sacks, and he's already got 1 forced fumble to his credit. And, of course, you got Colin Oliver. Never overlook him. He may only have 9 total tackles, 6 solo, 3 assisted, but he's got 3 sacks on the season. That's how big Oklahoma State's defense is. But what about the TCU defense? I looked at some of their numbers last night, and I'll tell you what. They've only got 10 total sacks as a team this season. That's just something to think about. But for TCU, D Winters, 22 total tackles, 12 solo, 10 assisted, 3.5 sacks, and he's got a fumble recovery to his credit. Jamani Hodge, 22 total tackles, 13 solo, 9 assisted, 1.5 sacks. He's even got an interception to his credit. And Johnny Hodges, 27 total tackles, 13 solo, 14 assisted, 1.5 sacks to his credit this season. There's your tail of the tape right here on defense, ladies and gentlemen. And that's just all there is to it. Everybody knows what's at stake. It's the top spot in the Big 12. TCU is trying to come out of nowhere to take the Big 12 crown. So I'll say it again. The Big 12 championship is going to have to go through Stillwater, Oklahoma, or Fort Worth, Texas. Hard to believe that I'm saying this. Everybody at the beginning of the season was thinking, Baylor and Oklahoma are going to win. Either one of those two are going to win the Big 12 championship. Baylor's playing bad. Oklahoma, they got their doors blown off against Texas. Texas just got themselves back into the top 25. And they've after their early season struggles. So the Big 12 championship, this is a big game. Both teams are undefeated going into this game. We're going to have a battle on Saturday afternoon. And that's just all there is to it. Okay. Let's move on. Number 15 NC State versus number 18 Syracuse. We've gone from the Big 10 to the SEC, the Big 12, and now we're going to the ACC. This is a big game. And what's at stake? This is a key game in the ACC Atlantic. Keep in mind, NC State's already lost to the top team Clemson already this season. In Syracuse, they just got themselves into the top 25 just about a couple weeks ago. But what's the key matchup in this game? How about NC State's defense versus Syracuse's offense led by Garrett Schrader? Schrader this season, 1,224 yards, 10 touchdowns, 1 interception, and he's got a QBR of 74.2. Not bad. He's an excellent quarterback. Don't sleep on him. But NC State's defense ranks second to Syracuse in defensive scoring, only allowing 15.7 points per game. That could be the most important element going into the Saturday afternoon matchup. So keep that in mind. The players to watch in this game, obviously for NC State, quarterback Devin Leary. 1,265 yards passing, 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and a QBR of 51.6. However, he is listed day-to-day after injuring his right throwing shoulder last week against Florida State. Could that be could be a little bit of a factor. So keep that in mind going into this contest. But for Syracuse, who do I got on my the players to watch out for? Could you believe it's a defensive guy? Linebacker Mikael Jones. 33 total tackles, 23 solo, 10 assisted, 2 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery. So Devin Leary may have his hands full trying to avoid Mikael Jones on Saturday afternoon. Syracuse's defense is really good too. Syracuse, they know how to get it done on defense. And with the game in New York at the Carrier Dome, the crowd is going to be a factor in this ball game. And that's all I can say right now. This is a key game for the ACC Atlantic. If NC State loses, any shot of them winning the ACC crown goes out the window. Syracuse, they got to play Clemson yet. And if this could be a big matchup between Clemson and Syracuse when the time comes. And hopefully, I hope it does. Now we talk NFL, Major League Baseball, college football. Let's talk about NASCAR. The NASCAR Cup Series this weekend is going to be at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And now we move on to the round of 8 in the chase for the Cup. And the points have been redone. Chase Elliott will be in the top spot. He's got 5 wins this season. He won his way into the round of 8 after his victory at Talladega. Joey Logano will be in the second spot. He's got 2 wins this season. Ross Chastain will be third in the points. He's got 2 wins this season. Christopher Bell, last Sunday on the Charlotte Roval, he won his way in. Ryan Blaney, it made it to the round of 8 despite the fact he has not won a race at all this year. I don't know how he's doing it, but he's doing it. William Byron will be 6th in the points. He's got 2 wins this season. Denny Hamlin will be 7th in the points. He's got 2 wins this season. And Chase Briscoe clinched that 8th spot after everything that happened to Kyle Larson last Sunday. So Chase Briscoe will be in the 8th spot. He's got 1 win this season. It is hard for me to say, and it's hard to believe that the defending Cup champion Kyle Larson will not get a chance to defend his crown as the series champion. But what I love about this now is now we got some parity. Because right now we have 8 cars, 8 guys going for the Cup. You got Elliott, Chastain, Byron, 3 Chevrolets. Then you got Christopher Bell and Danny Hamlin, 2 Toyotas. Then you got Chase Briscoe, Joey Logano, and Ryan Blaney, 3 Fords. We're seeing a parity in NASCAR that we haven't seen in the last few years. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for my closing thoughts. As we go into this weekend, we have all these huge college football matchups that will have everybody talking. It's going to be a great weekend. Penn State, Michigan to open up the weekend. What a way to start it out. And then we close out the whole weekend but the Sunday night main event between the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. From start to finish, this weekend promises to be something very special. And the truth is, with everything that has gone on in the world, sports is a good avenue just to get away from the news of everything that's going on. This promises to be a fun weekend, as always. But as we take a look at everything in perspective, it promises to be a great weekend from start to finish. And that's all I have to say here today. Okay, folks, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. I want to thank you guys so much for being with me here on this Friday. Please go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. My name is Scott Manning. All you have to do is type my name, scroll down, look for this pretty face, click subscribe, and you will see all the sports shows I have done so far. I want to thank you guys so much for being with me here on this Friday. You guys have a fantastic weekend. I'll be back Sunday night at 11:30 with the Scott Manning YouTube Sunday Sports Machine. You guys have a fantastic weekend. Goodbye, everybody, and God bless. Thank you guys for tuning in, and goodbye, everybody, and I